Ladies and gentlemen, I analyzed earlier today about the report on withdrawal of Uhuru Kenyatta's security. In my previous analysis, I was a bit cagey because I realized that despite the fact that that information came from Twitter, it was being circulated by Alai, Pauline Joroge, and some bloggers that were around former President Uhuru Kenyatta. So I was wondering why the mainstream media were not fact checking it. But by 9 p.m., the story was out that it was not hot air, as some of Twitter users were claiming. So I want us to do an explainer because I've now tried to at least go behind the story, and I want us to look at what is behind the story. Guys, in this explainer, this is what happened. Yesterday night, orders were given by using the right channel within the security hierarchy for 100 GSU officers that were attached to former President Uhuru Kenyatta's family members, not Uhuru Kenyatta. It's not clear whether it affected Uhuru Kenyatta, but then that was given in the morning, and so they were told to report back to the headquarters for further redeployment. That story was it was all there in the morning, and I think Robert Alai started talking about it. By the time, so when that is what was reported, then Gioni, Robert Alai then came back and said that Mamangina was stuck in Mombasa because I don't know, driver and security details had been withdrawn. Now, this is what is now all out there about this issue. What they are saying that former presidents are entitled to six, their members are entitled to six in law. It's retired presidents and its privileges. It's supposed to be six. But then this is what is happening. They were perhaps enjoying this because of, Uhuru Kenyatta is a president and his father was the first president. So some of what they were enjoying was maybe benefits of the late father. But I want to bring it to 2012 to 2022. Between 2012 to 2022 is where we saw that regime ballooning the security details that are attached to the president. Then, because before that, it was not to that tune. Of course, not clear. But before that, I remember even Raila was having around 57, and Raila was a prime minister, if I'm not wrong by then. So, there is a thin line or rather, what is not given clarity, and what I want us to get is here. Between 2012 to 2022, despite the fact that Uhuru Kenyatta was a son to a former president who was entitled to some of these privileges, he was the sitting president. Now, I saw a tweet by Gerald Bitok, and Gerald Bitok is a gentleman that speaks on behalf of Kenya Kwanza, is more pro Kenya Kwanza, and some of the few people that I trust goes objective on political discourse in the country. I want us to look at his tweet because his tweet is going to give us its opening. It's going to give us what exactly is the argument of UDA. Update on alleged security withdrawal from former President Uhuru Kenyatta. Information is on exit. So the withdrawal is on exit. The previous regime allocated him 120 officers shared among family members. The law provides for only 6. He has now been allocated 20 police officers, still in excess of 14 officers. Now, let's look at this tweet. If the law provides 6, then you've given 20 in excess of 14. And at the same time, you're saying that they were 120. So 120 was against the law. Instead of him getting 120, he's having 6. Then you're saying that because you've given 20, now you're following the law. Does it add up? This is what we're not being told. We are not saying that Uhuru was right to allocate his family members that. But as a sitting president, these security details, E120, alipewa these family members and that because he was a sitting president. Tuambieni ukweli. Uhuru akona watoto wangapi? Na bibi, na mamake, ama sister. Unadhani polisi 6 wanaweza tosha? And as a sitting president. So the truth of the matter here is this, that the 120 that was allocated to Uhuru Kenyatta family was by the time he was the president. It's not that he misused, that instead of having 6, he took 120. By that time, he could not have 120. But now, he can have 6 because he's now a retired president. That explanation is more clearer. What I saw, I've seen Uda bloggers trying to hook in these social media streets is a bit of the fact that Uhuru Kenyatta had more, ama alijipea mingi, wengi, and it's not supposed to have the number that it was having. Now, far from it, it might have taken a very low stake, and maybe the president have. But this discussion is not going to end because it's a continuation of Uhuru Ruto fallout. As it's an escalation of that. It started with the tax system, trying to security. I want to move and make my very good interpretation of this scenario. Kindly make sure you subscribe to our channel. Political transitions have a big backroom interest. When we hear of transition, that I am supporting candidate X, I'm supporting candidate Y, we take it very simplistic. For example, there was a very strong argument that Uhuru was supporting Raila so that Matiangis and members of his cabinet and people that he had appointed could get a lifeline. People see that as an interest. Now, just 6 months when Ruto is in power, look at how the stories are evolving. It started from a tax, which now I saw the man Rugiji ironically asking the president alipe polepole. Kila mtu lazima lipe tax, anafaa alipe backdate, alipe polepole. Rugiji saying that. And now it has come to security. What is next? You never know. What is next? And I saw, it reminds me of something. When I was in Jacaranda, I saw Raila very strong. You know, anasema kitu yote. Ajali. And I was wondering, if you look at people in Azimio, people don't want to talk. They're not talking. It's only one man who is talking. Raila, one and one woman. Raila and Martha Karua. Then mtu akaniambia unajua watu wengine wanaogopa biashara. Sasa nikajiuliza, kwani Raila hana hizo biashara? You know, hana hizo biashara zitakuwa affected? Do you think he also doesn't have those backroom interests? The Hassan Johos cannot be in the rallies because they are commercial interests, their business interests. So, what does that tell you? We can demonize Raila for any other reason, but there is a strong reason for Raila to remain active in politics and put William Ruto government on check. Otherwise, we risk a lot of power abuse. We risk a lot. Hizi vitu zinafanyika, and there's a few that we can see. Now, what's happening in the background? And you've seen the way we're running. And what is the tragedy? Why this direction I normally say is wrong is that we should never tell the people, we should never show the people that when I get it, it's me, myself, and my family and my friends. Winner takes all. Someone should not feel lesser that he cannot get or he cannot be at peace with what he have simply because his person is not in power. If we go to the next election with the winner takes all, I am seeing, I am afraid. And I'm not going to tell you why I'm scared, but you can also make your own guess. That if we go with winner takes all, when Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila Odinga spoke about it, we never saw it. I remain, and by the today I need to say, I remain a handshake crusader. For one reason, winner takes all. Unajua, for long, regions that had been supporting Raila walikuwa ni kama sababu hajapata hatuko na sasa maybe sisi hatujaipata, so that handshake arrangement to some extent, even though it did not solve winner takes all on legal grounds, but the natural law, the feel good environment came out. I don't know whether our democracy is mature enough for the legal framework to solve the winner takes all. One day, I will analyze that. That the winner takes all cannot be solved by the legal stories. Hata ukicreate the office of the opposition, eti kazi yao ni ukitisha press conference ufanye hiyo, and you still continue to fire people who were in the previous administration here and this and that, it's not going to be. We must get it right. Even if there is something that number 2 is going home with, it will not prevent number 2 from putting a very spirited campaign on the election. The test of maturity of a democracy is not how long we can fight and how far we can push to get to the presidency, but how smoothly we can transit to the next regime without frictions. Let me say here, as I finish up this, Ruto wants to put off Uhuru Kenyatta from the political scene. And I wonder whether what happened in Mount Kenya was not enough. However, that effort, the strategy to put him off is what is sustaining him back. Uhuru was not interested in coming back. I'm telling you, was not interested. But then it seems we still want to pull him around and see him doing this and that. That is by next analysis. I know I had said I was going to do it, or whether it's still potent. I'm going to look at it in my next analysis, whether Uhuru Ruto fallout, that fight we are escalating, that feud we are escalating, is it politically potent for President Ruto, both on his reign as a president and his bid to seek re-election? We have a long way to go. What's your take, guys? Make sure you subscribe.